Welcome back to Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and the lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host, broadcasting live from Roseville, Minnesota, in the heart of the beast. I mean, it's so crazy around here. Jesse, Mega Jesse, joining me as always. Show the people what happened to our Trump sign.
Yep, no, it's another great day to be America first, but, these liberals are crazy. So thanks a lot to Tucker, who you can see in the comments there, for bringing us this Trump stand-up. But as you can see, it's been damaged. They've gone after Trump. They want to destroy our property. Democrats and liberals don't have any respect for private property. They don't have any respect for free speech. And they're so deranged that they feel like they have to rip off Trump's head when it's a cardboard cutout. But we're getting lots of people who are excited about it, people who wanted to get their picture taken with the great MAGA king. And but it's been great at the state fair. Crazy liberals, of course, to deal with, but for the most part, we're getting a lot of thumbs up, and people are ready to support President Trump this election.
All right, and reading your comments, let us know where you're watching from, is none other than Bridget. How you doing, Bridget?
I am doing absolutely fabulous. And the comments is just funny because Bad Hat Harry's asking Tucker if he went to the fair, but Tucker volunteered.
Tucker was literally there, and I never met Tucker. I don't think we've ever met in person. But I always see you in the comment section, and then all of a sudden I get a picture of you, and I was like, "Oh, that's who Tucker." I didn't know that's what he looked like. And Glenn was there.
Mm-hmm.
Who was with Glenn?
Yep, Glenn, his wife, and Tucker. Yeah, they were all great. And Dan Kalush, he was also there helping us too.
Thank you.
So yeah, we had a great time. That was a great MAGA night for us.
I guess we're the MAGA booth now. I don't know how that happened. Jesse's taking over. Yeah, no kidding, right? Running the dials as always is Mr. Deep State himself, Dawson. How you doing, Dawson?
I'm doing pretty good. A lot of stuff going on today. If you want to see me, I'm at the fair tomorrow. So come get a picture with your favorite cameraman, dude.
I don't want to scare people away from the fair. I will also be with you, all right? Midday, right?
Yeah.
So with the bad comes the good, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Depending on which way you look at it. Joining us from Georgia is the State Senator Colton Moore, who is actually trying to impeach Fani Willis, which is the DA down in Fulton County. Now, let's just be honest. Like, even polls are showing this. Everyone knows this is election interference. So what are you going to do if these people are so corrupt that they're going to interfere with the presidential election? Well, this guy's actually got a solution. Colton Moore, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much for joining us. First time we've had a chance to meet. I appreciate you coming on the show. Tell us, what are you trying to do down there?
So I'm trying to use my legislative authority. I'm trying to do my job as a senator. And we all know from basic government class that we have three branches of government. And the legislative branch, right, provides a check and a balance to the judicial and the executive officers, right? We've got oversight ability in the legislature. So we don't go officially into session until January here in Georgia. So what I'm calling for is an emergency special session. Now, what do we do in an emergency special session? Well, we've got anything we want to do. We're a legislature. So the first priority that I'm calling for is a full defunding of Georgia tax dollars for this corrupt district attorney. I mean, I represent about 200,000 people in Northwest Georgia, and they do not want the tax dollars that they sweat hard for funding this type of, rogue communist insult to the U.S. and the Georgia Constitution, right? I mean, let's not forget, in Georgia, it took 19 days to certify the election results, and now we have 19 people being indicted for expressing their First Amendment rights by challenging the integrity of an election, right? This is no different than Stacey Abrams, who ran for governor and questioned the integrity of an election. It's no different than Hillary Clinton when she questioned the integrity of an election with Donald Trump, right? We treated them like an Americans. We didn't prosecute them. But right now we've got these 19 people who are being treated un-American. I swore an oath to the Constitution, and that's what I intend to do, is flex my legislative authority and put a check and a balance. The legislature, like I said, it has oversight ability. So right after we defund Fani Willis of Georgia tax dollars, we need to be investigating her, right? Why in the world did the indictment come out hours before the grand jury ever concluded?
Right.
One might assume that maybe there was some judge shopping going on. which is even against Georgia bar rules. Why was she able to do that, right?
Is anything being
Those
done?
are
Is anything being done on that? Because we all hear that news story, and I mean, everyone covered that. But from what I could tell, it just got buried in the media because, oh, look, we're gonna get a mugshot of Trump, yay! Has anything even come of that?
Right. No, nothing has. And this legislature is refusing to investigate right now because, I mean, I expected when I started calling for a special session that 10 days in, I would have, 15, 20 signatures, hope for more. But I've got 3. I've got a fellow senator and 1 member of the House. That is it. Those are the only people calling for a special session right now. It's absolutely unbelievable. But and people ask why. They're like, why aren't these people calling for a special session? Well, think about the gravitas of the situation. When I have fellow senators who are being indicted, others that are on the co-conspirator list. These individuals are facing life in prison. And these legislators are like, man, I'm going to make the governor mad if I call for a special session. Man, I'm really going to make the district attorney mad if I call for a special session. What if she indicts me? Right? We've got the judicial branch in our state taking out our senators. Unreal.
Yeah, and the left always talks, oh, it's all about democracy, all about democracy. But how dare you do something like this, which is the closest form of democracy? You're a state senator. You represent the people. The people in this state assembly also represent the people. You're the closest voice to the people. And so it's like, we look at this, and I don't know you well enough, but I know some of the people that know you, so I'm assuming you're just like us. You're sick and tired of Republicans doing absolutely nothing when there's really bad things happening in our country. Like, I don't know, 4 indictments against the leading candidate for president. And so it seems like to me, you're actually doing the most democratic thing. You're using the body of the people to actually push back against this corruption.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it more perfectly. I mean, I was having a conversation with the majority leader of the Senate, a couple hours ago. And I'm just like, if it is not clear that I am not stopping for anyone, whether it's Republican Senate leadership, whether it's the governor, like, you cannot stop me for defending my oath to the Constitution. I mean, I've been a Georgian for 5 generations. My family was here before the Civil War. My grandfather fought Nazis in World War II. And now we have Nazis in Atlanta, and no one's going to do a darn thing about it. I mean, that's why I've got to rush to the fray immediately.
Yeah, Colton, quick question for you. I've been seeing on your Twitter or X, whatever we want to call it now, that you've been calling out these 2 Rhino senators, Bo Hatchett and Shelley Eccles, because they're refusing to sign on to your letter for a special session. So what I'm wondering,
the first 2 senators to publicly come out. They made a joint statement yesterday on Facebook and was like, oh, Colton's just grandstanding. He's just doing this to raise money. And that's why I have spent the day reminding their constituents that they have refused to take action and do their legislative duty.
Yeah, what have they done so far? Right?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm assuming they're in heavy Republican districts. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. I mean, Senator Bo Hatchett is in the most conservative district in Georgia. Most conservative district, more conservative than my district.
Isn't it interesting?
Right?
We're all from Minnesota, and he's down there, like on the other side of the country, and we just still know the dynamics. These characters are all over the place. It's the same characters we teach on our courses. Yeah, I mean, I think people are going to say grandstanding, raising money, all that kind of stuff. That's always what the establishment says. But the big question is, it's not just you. It's not just your constituents. It's a country of patriots that go, something is wrong here. There's polling that shows people believe these are political attacks on a lead candidate for president. And you're actually doing something about it.
Of course it is. I mean, think about this. I mean, the jail is being investigated by the U.S. Department of Justice. Joe Biden's Department of Justice is investigating the jail in Fulton County. You know why? They got people dying of bed bugs, literally passing away by death of bed bugs.
Yeah, we saw the pictures. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, what country are we in?
Right.
Then the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, they're reporting that half of the people in that jail have yet to be charged with a crime, and they're having to live in those 8th Amendment violations. We're the Democrats who say we're strong on criminal justice reform. Meanwhile, this district attorney isn't focused on the fact that murders and crime has rise maybe 60% in the last year or so in Fulton County. So she's not doing her job constitutionally to prosecute crimes. Instead, she's using her authority to take on political prisoners.
So let's get specific. How does impeachment inquiry work or impeachment proceedings work? First of all, you're out of session, so you got to get a special session called, which I assume is the governor. Does he just look for an agreement by the two houses, or do the houses weigh in on it?
So the governor on his own accord could call a special session without one signature.
And that's Brian Kemp, for those people not from Georgia.
Kemp, right.
Brian Kemp,
right.
a Republican.
Right.
So Jesse's got a whole thing against Brian Kemp.
Yeah.
But so he could call this tomorrow, you're saying?
He could call it tomorrow. He'd call it right now. I think he's got to give all of us legislators like 48 hours to arrive in Atlanta.
And then you arrive in Atlanta. I mean, it's not like this is a done deal. You're going to at least look into it, right? At this point. Well,
yeah. And so these senators are like, well, we don't have the authority to do anything about it. Well, we've got subpoena authority through our ethics commission. We've got an ethics committee in the Senate. We got an ethics committee in the House. It's Georgia Code 28-1-16, which lays it out. It says that this committee can subpoena anybody to it and hear, right? So why aren't we calling her in? Why aren't we questioning her? We've got some very talented legislators that are attorneys and are great at cross-examination. Why aren't they cross-examining her? Right? Why does it's such an embarrassment in Georgia when you've got Congressman Andy Biggs and Congressman Jim Jordan talking about defunding Fani Willis. They're talking about investigating her and the amount of federal funds that have been spent in her office. But yet we in Georgia are going to sit back and allow it to happen? Like, maybe I'm not a Republican. I don't know. Maybe they're not Republicans. But I tell you what, anybody who stands in the way of defending the Constitution is going to become my enemy. And that's the way we all should be as American patriots.
I guess I don't understand the money flow here. So the county jail or county prosecution is getting both federal funds and then you mentioned before state funds.
Yeah, and local funds.
Yeah, obviously county taxes, I assume, go to funding it. But you're saying the state's funding...
the state is funding this rogue indictment that we have going on right now.
And what's the... I don't understand how that happens. Like, what's the process that they get the funding for that?
Well, because she works for the state of Georgia. Right now, these cases are Donald Trump versus the state of Georgia. They're not Donald Trump versus the United States of America.
I assumed it was Fulton County, so
that's why we have a mugshot. That's why we have a mugshot, because federally, we're not even going to get to see inside the trials federally. Right? We're going to get to see the color sketch with the crayons. But here in Georgia, it's a Georgia court.
Right.
I mean, she is nothing more than a county attorney representing the state of Georgia.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Right.
And do you know how much state funding she gets?
No, we've got like 4 open records requests out. No one will give us that answer. No one will give us that answer.
What does the legislature do at this time of year? I mean, do you guys even still have hearings at all? I know you're not in session, but
there's committee hearings going on, every week, different committees.
And could they still do a subpoena without an emergency session? How's that work?
They ought to be able to. Yeah.
All right, so let's say Brian Kemp, probably not going to happen at this point, although if enough people are telling him to do it, they might. If he calls an emergency session, you have the ability to impeach county officials. Is that correct?
No, she's a state official.
So her whole. Okay, so we're a little different, I guess, in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So she's a state official.
She's a part of the Georgia state government.
Interesting.
So she is the prosecuting attorney for the state of Georgia in Fulton County.
Oh, I see. So they kind of give her a county area.
Attorney, right? So her district is Fulton County. Yeah. But she's a state attorney.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So yes, you can impeach any officer, state officer, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
And so my fellow senators, they're like, oh, we've got this prosecutorial commission that we just established, and that's going to take care of business for us. We gave them the authority to handle this type of thing. We don't have the authority. And it begs the question, how did we as a legislature, given a bunch of unelected bureaucrats, the ability to impeach somebody if we don't have that authority ourselves?
Exactly. Let's go to the comment section here. What do we got?
We have Tucker91 saying the jail spent all the funds for pest removal on DEI initiatives.
I mean, honestly, you got to look into this jail. It's so crazy. There's a guy that literally died from bed bugs, and I think they settled with this guy. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know all the details of the case. When I got to that point about it, the guy died of bed bugs. I mean, there was another one last week. I think I'm not sure if it was fully bed bugs, but there was another death in the jail last week of Eighth Amendment violations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the beginning of this interview, Colton, you had made a really good point when you were saying that Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton both claimed that the election was stolen from them. And unlike them with Trump, here's an example where the election actually was stolen from Trump, where, a lot of us have seen the videos in Georgia where the ballot observers were kicked out and then they're scanning ballots 3 times, or they're pulling ballots out of suitcases for under tables. Or I had also seen that there was a committee meeting in Georgia where the QR code inventor proved in a Senate committee that the Dominion machines could connect to the internet and that there was two-way communication. Is there any other big pieces of evidence that you would suggest people look into that just proves that this election was stolen?
When I've spoken to the liberal media, the first thing they always come to me with is, well, he said 12,000 votes on a phone call.
Right.
Oh, God.
They always point to that.
Mm-hmm.
What they're failing to mention is at the same time, there's 40,000 affidavits. 40,000 affidavits from citizens all across Georgia who signed at the threat of perjury that they had seen some type of election fraud. So when Donald Trump is saying just find 12,000 votes, to me, he's saying open up the first 2 boxes of the 40,000 affidavits that you have sitting there at the Capitol.
Mm-hmm. And so are those affidavits in Raffensperger, the Secretary of State's office? Who holds those?
Oh, I don't know. The video that I saw when they were being brought into the Capitol, they were brought to the governor's desk. They were willed in.
Okay.
And because I think the reason why they were willed in is the governor is ultimately the one who certifies the election.
Mm-hmm. Right. And also,
And really talking about the election in 2020 is like, sure, I agree, there was fraud. But that's a distraction to the bigger problem we have right now, which is we're not even allowed to talk about it because we might be put in prison for the rest of our life.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got this fascist over us, and it's just like Nazi Germany. It's like first they come after your enemies, and you don't say anything because they're your enemies. And that's where our governor is right now. He's like, Donald Trump's my enemy. I'm not gonna say anything. It's been 10 days. I'm not gonna have a press conference. Right? But then they come after your friends, right? I got friends in the Senate they're coming after. And my fellow senators, I feel like they're like, oh man, you saw what they did to our enemies. They're doing this to our friends. I'm too afraid to speak out, right? But then they come after you, and neither your enemies nor your friends are left to speak for you because they're all back in the gulag.
Yeah.
So do you think that's what explains the only 3 signatures so far, or is there something a little bit more deep? Is there just an establishment Republican base, or not base, but the swamp creatures basically?
Right.
Yeah. What is it that's
the
really
Senate,
good?
I think my fellow senators, I think my fellow representatives, they are so reluctant to come out right now because they're going to make the governor mad, and they've got to make a choice. The first choice is, who do you represent? Do you represent the people, or do you represent the governor? Okay. And then probably the most important choice they're going to have to make is, are they going to side with their constitutional authority? They're going to side with the rule of law and call for a special session? Or are they going to sit by and do nothing? And by, not to speak is to speak. And by not speaking, not taking action, you're siding on the side of this rogue district attorney who is violating members' First Amendment rights.
The makeup of the Assembly and Senate, tell us where that is at. Obviously, there's a Republican governor. Where's the Assembly and the Senate?
A simple majority in our Georgia Senate is 29. We have 33 Republicans.
Okay.
So we've got over a majority, which I've expressed to many other Senate members. I'm like, we've got the votes to defund her. I was like, if 4 of you are really mad at me and you don't want to vote, then walk out of the room. We still got enough votes to defund Fani Willis. And here's the other cool part about what's going over in the House. We've got a majority of Republicans in the House. It takes 108 to impeach, but we just had one Democrat like 2 weeks ago, Representative Misha Maynor, who was a Democrat, suddenly denounce her party and become a Republican.
Why'd she do that?
And has got a strong testimony against Fani Willis.
Is that the reason she did it?
Part of the reason, yeah, to my understanding. I mean, you'd have to have her on to ask her that question.
Oh, I might have to do that. I mean, I haven't even heard that story yet. That's
Right.
fascinating.
So, I mean, to these Republicans who are like, oh, Democrats will never come along with us. We got Democrats coming along with us right now.
Oh, they will if their people want it that way. That's what politicians do. They just answer to their people. Special interest until the people
right
rise
now
up.
They're not. Right now they're answering to the governor.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because
And
enough.
all they're giving is governor's talking points, and governor's talking points are Colton's crazy.
Yeah, until enough of their people rise up and say, we need this, right? Which
Absolutely,
I imagine
yeah.
most of them will. So, obviously in a lot of states and U.S. Congress, a simple majority impeaches, but you got to get a conviction in the Senate. Is it similar to that? How does it work?
Yeah, we would, to my understanding, we would have to have one Democrat in the Senate to make a full impeachment.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, but you mean a
But
conviction?
we've got
You're saying
Democrats-
conviction.
We've got Democrats who are coming out now in support of our lieutenant governor. Our lieutenant governor was going to be indicted. Our lieutenant governor was able to go to the judge and say, look, this district attorney held a fundraiser for my political opponent. And the judge is like, yeah, that's conflict of interest. I don't think you'll be able to indict him. So he was going to be number 20 on the indictment list. I mean, this rogue district attorney is trying to take out the number 2 guy in the state.
Jeez.
And so who do you think put Fani Willis up to this? It obviously isn't her own genuine idea. The deep state actors are obviously pushing her to do this. Do you have any idea up the chain who's pushing this?
I mean, from what I hear, the U.S. Department of Justice is just sending all types of money to her right now, which is something that needs to be investigated. You know, how is she able to suddenly hire on all these attorneys to join her force? Where's that money coming from, right? It's coming from the feds. And obviously she's got the backing in D.C., but I can't speak for her. You know, to me, I just look at her as a communist.
Yeah.
I mean, her dad was a Black Panther.
Really?
She's a far left radical, and she doesn't have any respect for the Constitution, and she's trying to use fascist authoritarian tactics to take on her political opponents. I mean, it's like La Ching, right? It's the Chinese word for death by 1,000 cuts.
I like how
Un-American.
I think, Jesse, I like how you just go to like the conspiracy. Like there's the deep state behind it, but it's like the hatred that some of these leftists have of Trump. It doesn't need to be manufactured behind the scene. They just hate Trump. She could be a
Right.
lone agent here. I mean, look, it wasn't the deep state that took your sign and Tucker's sign and smashed off Trump's head. By the way, Dawson, I want to remind you to get that picture that William sent to us in the thread of that shirt. I want to show that later in the show because people got to see that. Let's go to the comment section here, Bridget.
Tito Bodega says the left has created a chilling effect to speaking out on their corruption. And Bad Hat Harry responds, well, that's been established for some time. Their attack mechanism has been honed with social media. Think about the cancel culture as an example of average people attacking average people.
Right.
Kind of what you were just saying. Like
And of course,
people.
not just attacking average people, attacking the lead candidate for
Yeah.
president of the United States. Like leading Joe Biden in some polls, certainly leading the field of Republicans by a lot. It's unbelievable. All right, so you got to basically whip a ton of people here, right?
No doubt. But I mean, that's what we're doing every day for the last 10 days.
Good. So what do you tell people how
relentless.
this is working? Tell people how they get involved. Because I'm gonna
Yeah,
probably
so-
push this show into Georgia. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people want to see something happen.
If you're an audience and you're from Georgia, I mean, I know you're worn down. I know you've called your state rep and your state senator and they're not answering their telephone or whatever, but keep the pressure up. I mean, remind them, we do have the votes to defund. Why aren't we defunding her? If you live outside of the state of Georgia, you can go to coltonmoore.com/emergency. You can sign on to the official petition there. There's other ways you can help. I mean, we are in a political battle like we've never been in before. The entire nation, the entire nation is watching how this is being handled in Georgia. And if we don't fight with everything we have, we lose this right of freedom of speech that we hold so near. And there's nowhere else in the world that we can go to find it.
Yeah, I mean, and plus what they're charging him with is a RICO charges. It's so ridiculous.
The only evidence on some of these defendants is nothing more than a tweet.
I know. Can you imagine? Well, at least what they've provided to us. Can you imagine being the chief of staff of Donald Trump and now you're roped into this bullshit? And you were chief of staff when he was president, right? That's the other thing that's crazy.
There's a guy, I think his name's Clark, I want to say, who's indicted, who was a member of the Department of Justice. And I guess he wrote like some official letter that was like, hey, this, there's something spooky going on. And now he's part of the RICO now.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
I mean, she's going after a federal member of the Department of Justice. Like, she will not hold back.
I find
the Coffee County election superintendent. This is a rural county down in South Georgia. This woman is now part of the RICO indictment.
I find it interesting that of the 19 people indicted, the only person in jail right now is the black guy.
Yeah. Yeah, unreal.
Yeah. Fair justice system, right? Left.
Now, just imagine had Donald Trump been like, "Yep, I'm not going to pay my bail. You guys are going to have to put me in the jail." Like, can you imagine the standoff between the sheriff's department and the Secret Service?
Well, that's what I'm very worried about. I'm sure you are, being down there, is that where does this thing go? I don't see this going a peaceful route. And that's why I really appreciate someone actually using the peaceful legislative process, right? You have the ability to impeach people or to defund to solve these problems. If they don't get solved politically and they literally stop and interfere with the election, I think people are talking about how they might even restrict Trump from being on ballots. Right. I mean, can you imagine what's going to happen in this country? The right's going to be violent. People have to understand that. And so they are playing with fire. And I don't know what the calculation on the left is. Are they putting that into the calculation, or are they literally just ignorant to that? But it's not going a good direction.
It's not.
Mark says, I've
told fellow senators many times in the last 10 days. I've said, gentlemen, we must solve this ourselves, or our constituents will solve it in the streets, and the blood will not be on my hands.
Yep.
Exactly. Mark says, I just sent 2 friends to Georgia. Certainly, once again, we're almost 4 years later, all eyes on Georgia again, right? 3 years later, whatever it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I really appreciate what you're doing, Colton, because like Jake was saying, we have to use the political methods that are available to us. You as a state senator are doing that. We have a lot of the same problems here in Minnesota where we've got Republicans who don't want to get behind Trump. They're not America first. We have 0 incumbent Republicans in Minnesota endorsing him. It was like pulling teeth to get a resolution passed just to condemn these indictments by the Republican Party. So I really appreciate what you're doing, and I think people should check out your Twitter and see, you're listing out all these senators. Everybody should pressure them. Everybody should pressure Governor Kemp. What else can people do?
You can certainly help me with some campaign funds, coltonmoore.com/donate. We're using that money right now today. Sent out a text message to all the 4x4 voters in 2 senators' districts, and just said, hey, I need your senator. Your senator right now is doing everything they can not to sign the letter. They're blocking the letter. Call them up. The pressure continues. And for those senators who are like, oh, you're just raising money to grandstand. No, this money is going to be used against anybody who stands in the way of freedom.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're just raising money for their own reelection. So let's talk about nobility there. Well, you keep us updated. I want to stay in touch with you because this is an important story for all of us. So thank you very much for joining, Colton.
Yeah, keep up the good work yourself.
Take
Thanks.
care. It's just one thing that I found interesting is we get locked down by a Democrat governor. Locks down businesses, shut us in our homes, mask mandates, all that jazz. And you can't even get more than one Republican to sign on to the Never Again pledge in the state of Minnesota. We can't even get, 15 hands for a roll call vote on the Never Again pledge in Minnesota. I think people have got to wake up to the fact that it is not Democrat versus Republicans, Democrats versus the good guys. It is a problem with both damn parties. There's patriots versus the uniparty. And we see this. It's like, I've never met Colton before. It's the first time I met him right here on air. I don't know Georgia politics that well. I lived in Georgia for all of 7 months of my life. And that was, I was involved in politics and I was active duty Army. So I don't know Georgia's political scene, but I know it, right? It's just like the same characters are everywhere in politics. We know the dynamics. And so this is how you fight against it. You have to rise up. You have to let people know. That's why we're at the state fair right now with our wonderful Dump Biden fans, by the way, in case you haven't seen it. Dump Biden fans, the Dump Biden shirts. By the way, these are so hot right now. Like, we actually just did a big order again. So we were running out of shirts here in a day. Crazy. Brad says corruption needs to be exposed. That's what I believe. Like, what are you going to do about corruption? You expose it. That's half the reason we did this dang show, right?
Yeah.
It's so that we have a platform to tell people about corruption. So, yes, 100% needs to be exposed. Tucker wishing Colton good luck. Base Minnesota, the battle will always be resistance to communism. And that's very true. And that's, I mean, whatever you want to call communism, totalitarianism, authoritarianism, some ism, it isn't. It's a battle against this crap, right? And it's not a good direction for this country to go in.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of Trump, that was a really fun. I'm glad we had that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's doing a lot of good work. So it's exciting. You know, it is between, you know, America first and America last, where, you know, Fani Willis and these other attorneys who want to just destroy our country by taking us down a really dark path. If this was legitimate, they would have done these charges a year and a half ago, not during an election. And because of that, we see it's election interference. And even the left admits it. Even the Democrats know that it's politically motivated, that it's all another witch hunt. Yeah, no, it is great to see that there's people like Colton doing that.
Is it even a witch hunt, though, Jesse? It's just election interference, plain and simple, election interference. Do they even need to find anything out about them? They just need to interfere with the whole calendar next year, and that's their next story. Do you know the first? What was it? Was it the federal case that got announced today? I think it's the federal case, Jack Smith federal case. I should know this by heart. It was announced that the trial is set. Oh, no, this is the same Georgia case. Trial set for March 4th, the day before Super Tuesday. So if you want to know the relevance of that, like the biggest campaign day of the year, probably the most important part of the election cycle. Because to be, you know, the main candidate of a major political party, Republican versus Democrat, you have to win the party's primary. And on Super Tuesday, basically the field usually goes one direction, you know. It's a lot of times decided by that date. In fact, I remember in 2020, the Democrats, that was like right before Super Tuesday, Klobuchar and Buttigieg and Kamal all drop out, right? And then they endorse Biden so that Bernie doesn't do well in the primary.
Yeah.
It's Super Tuesday. It's the big day. So, yes, this is election interference. Trump, the most important day of the election cycle, where he should be going rally to rally in all the important states, California, Texas, Minnesota's on Super Tuesday, Maine. There's like 12 or something, 12 or 15 states. It's a bunch of states. All that.
We have
then that's what happens is they're going to have a trial date for that.
K-Wall for Life gave a $10 Rumble rant. Says, sorry I'm late for class today. T-Wall and I will be at the fair.
Oh, nice.
Thursday.
Oh, on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Sad to William and Jesse. I'll be there tomorrow. I won't be there Thursday, I don't think. Yes, I won't be there Thursday because Mort and Bashosky will be in the studio. We're going to be interviewing Aaron Siri, a lawyer who's actually taking on Moderna and Pfizer. It's going to be a really good interview. Mark's actually bringing him to the state of Minnesota. So don't miss that episode on Thursday. That's why I won't be at the state fair that day.
Billy22 is asking, what are the odds that the trial will be public with cameras in the courtroom?
Well,
is it
Georgia?
public?
It is
Georgia
happening.
is?
Yeah, that's apparently. Well, I mean, they're publicizing everything, including a mugshot, right?
Yeah.
So, which, you know, okay, so I was thinking about this, Jesse.
Yep.
So, yes, they're interfering with Super Tuesday. No doubt about it, right? But Trump's going to figure out a way to make it worthwhile, right?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, he, you know, just the fact that, you know, he's back on Twitter. His first post is, you know, of his mugshot saying never surrender. Trump is, you know, he's going to know how to market this thing like nobody else. So it's going to be crazy. And, you know, it's so bad for the country. But and I'm sure that we're going to see something just like what happened with the Democrats in 2020, where we're probably going to see Asa Hutchinson, Chris Christie, Mike Pence all getting behind Rhino Ron DeSanctimonious. So, you know, we could see a very similar situation where they're trying to screw over Trump come Super Tuesday. So it's going to be interesting. I think that it's not going to work out for them because the more of these indictments that come out, the more the people realize that this is a scam. And I think the mugshot is actually backfiring on Fani Willis and these Democrats because the people don't take these charges seriously and they know it's a scam.
Well, I mean, there literally is a poll. What I got on Newsweek here, and it says that the majority Democrat voters think Donald Trump arrest is election interference. Right now, they all want him thrown in jail, right?
Yeah.
But they literally believe it's election interference. That's what the poll concludes. This is the Redfield and Wilton Strategy Survey.
Yeah.
That's what they believe.
Right. They're not for democracy. They're not for democracy because if you're interfering in an election, that would mean that you're not for democracy. So, and they call themselves the Democratic Party. So it just shows that, the whole system, it's a scam.
By the way, I think it was Tucker. Someone wrote how democracy is actually mob rule. And it's true. We're not a democracy. We're actually a republic. And a good thing we're a republic. You have a legislature, a constitutional republic more specifically. So they're bound by the Constitution.
Constitutional Democratic Republic. We vote. That's what the democratic part of it is that we go and vote on a ballot.
I know, but the whole Democrats are like, oh, it's a democracy. And
Yeah.
I feel like at this point, it's like they know what they're doing. Like, it's not a democracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was Madison. I think it was James Madison that said in the Federalist Papers that democracy is a vile form of government. Because it really is. It's mob rule,
Yeah.
Napkinator says Trump mugshot memes going so viral the youth will be MAGA by 2024.
Yeah.
Lane Girl says that she got her mugshot T-shirt.
Right on. No, and
I think
that's
someone
true,
asked us at the fair too if we had those.
Yeah, no,
But,
I'm
they asked
seeing,
this before Trump came out with his own. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be done, and it was like, I think that afternoon Trump had his photo out. Like he's got a whole store. He's got coffee mugs with it and koozies. I want the koozie actually. The koozie's
Yeah.
pretty badass.
No, but Trump is gaining in the polls with young people, with black people, because
that's
Trump's
been
got
a
some
lot.
street cred now, and with that mugshot, people are looking at it and saying, people are looking at it and saying this is crazy, and I think that young people are somewhat anti-authority just by their nature, so I think that it's going to shock these Democrats that we could flip a lot of the youth vote, and we could also flip a lot of the black vote.
Base Minnesota says black voters are at 20% now for him in most polls, up from 8% in 2020.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be 25 to 30%, maybe even more. So we just got to keep on climbing.
Well, I got breaking news according to William, so take that with a big grain of salt. I'm just kidding, William. He says
William gets so
Francis
attacked.
Suarez has dropped out. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez suspends presidential campaign after failing to qualify for debate. Okay, so I just fact checked, William. I was actually going to read it before I even fact checked it. That's how much I trust you, William. I trust you. Just understand that. We read this live.
The establishment
You're the one
kept
that told
Francis
me.
Suarez out for a reason, because he
Yeah.
would have ended Guantanamo Bay's career. So, there's a reason he wasn't in that debate.
So I have to ask you guys a question, okay? And I love your guys' input at home. How much planning do you guys think went into that mugshot? Right? Like, they didn't just go, Trump, whatever you do. It's like that was Trump is the most photographed person in history. You guys know that? I think
It makes
Obama was
sense.
before him.
Wow.
Trump's like the most photographed person in history. And can you think of a more important photo he's ever taken than that?
No.
And
No,
so
it's-
just think about, like, my wife. We're going to get our family pictures. Every guy pretty much hates damn family pictures. Just a note to all you ladies out there. We do it because we love you girls. We understand, and I get it, yes, but we hate them. But anyhow, we got to wear this. You got to do this and all kind of stuff. And then you take multiple ones, and this is smiling and stuff like that. You get one shot. I don't think they ask you if you like that, right? I just, what did I get? I got a shot for membership I got, and they showed me the thing, and they're like, are you okay with that? I don't think they do that when they book you. So he's got one shot. He had to have planned that thing, right? And I honestly, were you guys thinking this? I mean, the whole media was like, when is the photo coming out? CNN was the one to break it.
Yeah.
And we had it up on Twitter right away.
And
We
the
actually
fact
took
that
CNN, right?
Yeah, the fact that CNN broke it, that's not the first time that CNN was getting the stories before anybody else. And, it shows how much of a scam it is. It was the same thing when they arrested Roger Stone a few years back. Who was there? CNN. They had their whole camera crew ready to go. How did CNN know? Nobody knows, except,
Well,
the FBI leaked it to CNN. That's what happened in that case.
in this case, I kind of think CNN is based on Atlanta. Possibly that's the reason being they just have the connections. No one
Oh,
else
come
does, right?
on, Jake.
Oh, so naive.
Let's not be naive.
I'm naive.
Come on. It's not just
Okay,
that.
they added a minute before everyone else. Moot
Yeah.
Point, okay? But I look at that photo. I was like, what is it going to be? Because, part of the thing, I think they coach, and we talked about this with, what's his name? The guy who chugged the vodka and the up north legislator.
Wolgamott.
Yeah, Dan
Wolgamott. And he's smiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
They plan this stuff, right?
Right.
All right. So Trump's not smiling. He's got like the perfect look. Is that not? And it's funny. The left likes the photo and the right likes the photo.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've all agreed on anything since basically Epstein didn't kill himself, which, by the way, Trump doesn't believe. Or he's open to it, but he's leaning against it.
He didn't say exactly that. I saw the Tucker interview.
Well, isn't that funny? It's like the first time we've all agreed on it. Now, I think it benefits him, right? It's a damn good photo. So I don't know how you explain it. It's like this serious look that there's a problem, and then he's like guarded down, like, I'm ready to solve this problem. That's the way I look at that photo, right?
Yep. No, I see it the same way. Yeah, he's got that look in his face that, he's being set up, and he's not afraid. He's not gonna back down. That's what that photo means to me, is that he's ready to fight. And that's the thing. We talk about it a lot, but he doesn't have to run. He doesn't have to save America. He could just enjoy life, enjoy his money, enjoy his family. But he's choosing to run because he loves this country. And there's only one guy in my mind that's going to drain the swamp. So, I'm going to stick with him thick and thin because, this is just crazy and so bad for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the comments here.
Let's see. So, Napkinator says left was mad he didn't have his chin up. Tucker says, I like the Barron Trump one where all you see is from chest down. I also see a Fauci one where all you can see is tip of his head.
I like what Lynn Girl says.
Yeah, his look is stating you're next.
You're next. Yeah. Oh, but that's violence, right? It's called for violence. Here's the other thing. I got to get it out, okay? They book him. Stats. Trump, 6'3", 215 pounds. Now,
yeah, liberals are getting really mad about that. They're losing their minds. We've had people coming up to us at the state fair yelling, 6'3", 215? No way. It's like, sounds like someone's jealous. A lot of these fat feminists, it's like, who are you to talk? I'm looking at you. It's like, Jell-O, like it's like a garbage bag filled with Jell-O. Me and Bridget, we were seeing it all day yesterday. It was crazy. These are the liberals that are out there. These are the people that are, saying that Trump should be locked up. These are, we got a bunch of retards in our country that, especially here in Minnesota, that just follow the mainstream narrative and will believe anything they're told.
Yeah, they're the first to mask up again, right?
And Faith92 says when you're in a boxing fight, you keep your chin tucked. He's ready for a fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a great
right.
point. I like that. No, so he's clearly lying, right, about his weight.
We don't know.
Well, we know.
Faith
right?
says, I thought the left was against fat shaming.
Yeah. No. Well, the hypocrisy.
be.
Like, look at the hypocrisy. Oh, there's an unfair justice system for white and black people, and then they throw the one black guy and the 19 indictments in jail.
Yeah,
He's
someone
like
asked
leader
why. Why
he's
is he
like
the
the
only
leader
one?
well, he could have made bail. I don't know.
Oh.
But he's the leader of Blacks for Trump or something like that. That's the one guy they throw in there.
Yeah, and Royce White, he was making a really interesting point on his podcast that he was saying that Fani Willis is just doing the job of the white man. The white man is tasking this black woman with, doing, fulfilling out this Nazi, this fascist ideology. And, she's doing it, not questioning anything, not thinking for herself. She's doing whatever she's told, and just goes to show that, she's just another puppet for it. Like I was saying before, this isn't her idea. This was something that was given to her that she was willing to do, and because she wants to be famous from it.
Yeah. So here's Tucker. I like that. 6'3", 215 pound for reference. NFL quarterback Joe Burrow is the same weight and height. Let's pull up a picture of Joe Burrow, like all American looking quarterback. By the way, great quarterback, one of the best. That was a big thing that came from that show Quarterback on Netflix. Patrick Mahomes, who by far is having like the best start of any quarterback ever, like 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl victories. He's been in every AFC championship game since he's been in, 3 Super Bowls. Like, you want to be Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that bugs him is he hasn't beat Joe Burrows yet.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that's a competitor. Yeah, there's Joe Burrow. Let's just go that one there on the top right with the Cincinnati Bengals. One more to the left of that. No, I was gonna see that's more of a body shot. That's 6'3", 215 pounds. Okay, and by the way, that's more muscles too in those 215 pounds. So leaner. Trump's not 215 pounds, right?
We don't
But here's
know.
let's be honest. No, well, he could have made maybe he made weight, right? You're a former wrestler, right? I watch enough mixed martial arts to know how it works. He could have been cutting water weight for that photo.
Yeah.
I think they asked him. I don't think they weighed him. I think they asked him what his weight is. How freaking hilarious is it that he lied about weight? Because the left loses their shit that he's lying, and all people are gonna do is sympathize with them because they're gonna fucking lie about their weight too. We all would, right? Women do all the time. Men do as well. So no one's really gonna fault him for it, but the left loses their shit over it. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, they're triggered by everything. Everything Trump does, everything Trump says. So yeah.
I'm starting to sound like Jesse. It's the 4D chess. It's the 4D chess. And quite frankly, he loses on Super Tuesday, right? But is he gonna really lose out? He's going to do a damn press conference out there. It's going to get more media attention than all the other candidates.
Yeah.
Especially if he takes questions from the press pool.
Yeah.
You know, that'll be interesting. And they're going to be talking about the whole time. So it's just, honestly, it's hilarious to me. All right, let's go. What was my next topic here? God, it's just, politics is so crazy. So, you know, and the hilarious part of it, right? It's a really deep thing. I'm truly mean that when I was saying that to Colton. Like, this is not going down a good road. They're literally talking about not having Donald Trump on ballots in states. Can you imagine that? Like, if you actually don't even allow people to vote for, because basically he was behind an insurrection, and insurrectionists can't be on the ballot. It's their logic. So, quite frankly, we're doomed as a country if they do that.
Napkin Nader says all those numbers add up to 17. The 6'3", 215 pounds. I'm trying to figure out.
How does it add? Oh, 215?
Yeah, I think with all
6'8", 6'3",
So
11.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that is 17. Isn't 17 the... Isn't that Q thing?
Oh,
the
that's
Q
what I'm trying to
thing?
figure out. Like, what
Is that... No, come on. That's too funny if that's true. Q17. I'm typing this in right now. Lucky
And Lisa
17,
Scott says the
Q
same
and the
thing. Add
tippy
them up equals 17.
That is the Q number.
Gosh. That is actually funny if he did that on purpose.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I think that's what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. No way. Come on. That's what happened.
This is just another. Whoops. This is just another fucking Monster Energy drink. 666. Add that.
Yeah,
up, multiply
could
by
be
2.
for sure.
Or it's a Trump tip of the hat. You know, hey, I see you guys queuing on. Keep up the work.
Yeah, but that's what people are saying is, oh yes, he's talking to us.
He's actually in control. He's
But he
telling us-
also could be
yeah.
just trolling too,
I
you know?
That's what he's probably doing. I think.
I mean, he's not 215 pounds, right? I think he's 6'3". So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should look into it more. That's just hilarious. Napkin Nader, thanks a lot for that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I got a friend that's gonna. I wonder if she even knows about that right now. When she finds that out, she's gonna be. See, I told you, Jake. I told you.
Hazel Dazzle says Stormy D Twitter response. But
Stormy D Twitter.
Stormy
response.
Daniels, yeah.
What did she say?
I don't know. I'm assuming maybe something like that. The references to 17.
No,
I don't know.
That wouldn't come from Stormy. Can you
Yeah,
look
I don't know.
I don't know what it says.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find something
Find
here.
Stormy Daniels thing. Okay, I want to go to the next subject here. Can't even remember what it was.
I was gonna look up the Stormy Daniels thing, but I don't know if I'm allowed to look up Stormy Daniels on this computer.
Not suitable for work. Let's just do the Mike Pence hit with a water balloon before we go to the next story. As a little intermission. This girl. Now I don't know if much is being made of it. Jesse put this in her show notes. Mike Pence got hit square in the head, not in the face, because he was looking away, by a water balloon.
When was this?
Look at this dangerous
I think it was just a few days ago, because
Yeah.
I just discovered it pretty recently here.
Well, look at this dangerous assassin that threw it. Look at this little girl with white bluish shirt on.
Boom.
Look at her face. She's like,
Yeah, she's so proud
Oh,
of herself.
rewind that real quick.
You're
That was a
calling
good
little
shot.
girl, but that arm is a cannon.
That is a impressive throw. Here's what I'm gonna say, okay? Now I'm laughing. It's a freaking water balloon. Easy, guys. I'm not condoning violence, obviously. It's a water balloon. We all do water balloon fights, okay? And there's no way she hit. Look at that guy back there. He's just like, you just hit the former vice president. There's no
Yeah.
way she hits that. There's no way she even hits him 2 times in a row, let alone his head 2 in a row. That is a lucky shot. But a very good windup, very good arm, regardless. But she's not hitting that shot twice. It's a moving target, too. That's the other thing. So it didn't seem like it really fazed Mike Pence. So that's,
Yeah.
that
And
actually makes Mike Pence look good. Because imagine you got steaming mad at a little girl who, like, quite frankly, did not know she was going to hit him in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a water balloon, there's nothing,
But
nothing
is that
bad
like a
about that.
parade or
Especially, you know,
something?
look
From
like,
a girl. Like,
Yeah,
like
a little
grown
girl.
adult doing that, it's a different story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, and it's, you know, probably hot out, but you know, I've seen other examples like, you know, Bill Gates getting pied in the face and stuff. That's a little bit tougher, but you know, something like this is just kind of good fun in my
Yeah.
mind.
She
Napkin
probably-
Nader said this is a month old, actually. So I think it turned out to be someone other than Pence.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow, this is just total fake
Fake
news, I guess.
Man,
okay,
it
so I can
looks
trust
like Pence.
I could trust William. I guess I can't trust.
Hey, I don't
Well,
know.
thanks for putting this in the show notes. I didn't vet this myself because I believed what you were giving me is correct.
Well, I'm still
Oh,
gonna
man.
stand by it.
You gonna stand by it?
Yep. And I
Unbelievable.
found, I think, what was the Stormy Daniels tweet. It's about the fat shaming. Because apparently she was maybe fat shaming Trump and said not fat shaming, lie shaming.
The
So,
top comment
gosh.
of that video is, "This isn't Mike Pence."
yeah.
Jeez. Well, okay, so let's be honest. The truth hurts, okay? We tell what we believe to be the truth. We'll quickly correct it if we find out
Yeah,
not to be
you're
the
not-
truth, okay? We will get things
Perfect.
wrong from time to time, all right? Yeah, razzle dazzle, correct month old. How have you guys all seen this? I've never seen this before.
Yeah, same here. It just came across my YouTube, so.
Well, now we know we got to
Napkin
vet
Nader says
him a
at
little
that
bit
time
more.
everyone thought it was Pence. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was still labeled as if it was Pence, so that's what I saw.
So what
I-
happens if Pence gets pelted in the head by the little girl? Because
Yeah.
that guy handled it the right way, right? Didn't even really phase him.
I tried looking up Stormy Daniels, and I don't think I can't show
Don't.
it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
there's
recycle your
some
jokes.
dirty stuff on there.
Yeah, don't recycle your jokes. Oh,
I
that's
don't know
right.
what you're talking about recycling a joke. I'm serious.
Yeah,
have
no,
it
I
pulled
just
up.
realized
got,
this,
it's
yeah.
got
Be there.
yeah, it's got like an OnlyFans on there. There's all kinds of
I know. I just
all
totally.
kinds of sexual stuff on there.
I just totally forgot about that. Twitter is literally the Wild West, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like half porn, isn't it?
Gosh.
So
Well, yeah, free speech or whatever.
Kathy Huron says, funny comment I heard from a Georgia resident. They indict, we unite.
I like that.
Yeah.
They indict, we unite.
Mm-hmm.
Go to this article. No. Let's talk about the state fair, and then I want to go talk about COVID for a little bit, okay? Because a lot of you guys are talking about. We're hearing about this at the fair. We're hearing about people are emailing me about it. Tell me. Well, first of all, did you get the photo that William shared with us?
Yeah, no thanks to William.
Tell me, Jesse, the general conversations and the pulse from the fair so far, and both from the left and the right, because it's not just the right that's coming up to us.
Yeah, no, and so for the most part, yeah, it is mainly the right that's coming up to us, talking to us, and we're getting a lot of good support. We're always staying busy at the booth. There's almost never a second where we're not talking to somebody, and you know, we're giving out a positive message for freedom. And sometimes we're pissing people off in the process with it, because we sometimes get these crazy raging liberals yelling, calling us fascists, calling us racist. But here's an example of what William sent us, showing how violent the left really is. You know, they're putting on T-shirts a picture of Donald Trump blowing his brains out.
Let's look at that. Again.
That's the state of the left right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the decency
Yeah,
we
like
get
that's
from the left.
like literally, if we were wearing something like that with Biden, I doubt you'd be allowed in the fair.
Yeah.
That's the. I
Like,
mean, it
for
would
real.
be the lead. Yeah, it'd be the lead story, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when there was the marriage amendment back, this is 10 years ago. This is way before you guys' time in politics here, but I remember getting a photo, kind of went viral, and it was this dude with the vote no on the marriage amendment. Basically, Republicans are trying to get marriage between one man and one woman in a constitutional amendment. So he's got the vote no shirt. It was a big campaign at the state fair. And in the back, he had one of these fans. and it said something like exterminating Christians one bullet at a time.
Jeez.
That's nuts.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Municipal waste is a metal ban, says Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Hey, go back.
Because I couldn't really even read the text at the top there. I thought it might say municipal. I wasn't
apparently
sure
they
what
did
it
Bush
had
and
said
Obama
there,
too.
so that's good to know.
I don't know all the obscure metal bands, even though I'm a
Neither
big
do I.
metal fan. I still just like the big ones, except for my cousin's band, Green Death, which is pretty awesome out of Iowa. Go back to that photo real quick.
Well,
Now,
even
look at the
Jesse,
Sox. Look at the Sox game. Like, this guy's just he's a piece of work.
Jesse, didn't someone come up to you too and say they wanted to shoot you in the head or something like
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
What was that story?
Like
Yeah,
somebody,
that's right.
like-
Yeah, so a volunteer for the Amy Klobuchar booth. I was wearing a MAGA hat, to be expected, and she came up to me and said that she wanted to shoot me in the head. So that's what the left is. They're violent, they're crazy, they're lunatics, and you could just see that this lady was not mentally sane, because anyone who just threatens someone with violence just because they have a different political persuasion than you, it just showed how crazy she really is. And for her to be a volunteer for the Amy Klobuchar booth of all booths, it shows that the Democrats trust her as well, because the Democrats are saying, here, we want you to volunteer because you are a good person to spread our message. So if that's the message of the Democrats, if that's the message of the Amy Klobuchar booth, bring it on, because I'm not afraid of them. Just like Trump, I'm not going to be, scared of these globalists. And there's people who come up to our booth, they say, wow, you guys have some spines, you guys have some balls, because this is crazy. I'm sure you're dealing with these crazy leftists all the time. And there's some, but we're getting more support than negativity. But, like I said, we've had the Trump head was ripped off. We also are doing a straw poll at our State Fair booth. And what happened when we were looking away, here comes a liberal. They take the Trump bucket, they throw it and dump it all in the trash. So we can't even have accurate measurements of what our polls truly are looking like. And, we have people calling us racist and fascist. I tell them every time they call me a fascist, I say I'm for freedom. I'm the opposite of fascism. And, these liberals, they don't even understand what that means. They have like a disconnect in their brain. And we've also gotten some hate from the right as well. So Little Miss CFB complaint, the one who has filed a felonious and fake CFB complaint against Action for Liberty, came up and shook my hand just like an establishment politician and said, next time you want to talk shit, do it to my face. But she ran off before I could say anything.
Yeah,
I would
she
have
didn't
called
even
her
let you
a
get a chance
puppet
to say
right
anything.
then and there. I would have said, hey, Marissa, you're nice to see the establishment puppet is having fun at the state fair. Thanks for coming by. But no, so apparently I think it gets under her skin, and that's too bad, Maybe you shouldn't be coming after grassroots people. Maybe you shouldn't be lying about people. Maybe you shouldn't be filing fake complaints with the CFB just to try to tie us down legally. She's a tool and a puppet of the establishment. We have to put people like that in their place. She's a pawn in this system, and that doesn't mean that you don't take out a pawn in a game of chess.
Nice.
What's the? I want you
Tito
to read that comment.
Bodega says, if you guys wore the equivalent shirt, the FBI would raid your homes and shoot you.
Right.
But Tucker also
Fair
says,
point,
Tucker's
right?
explaining like the band and everything about them. He says they would do the same thing with if Biden was president.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Tucker, Guar's singer died in Minnesota on the way to Canada. Guar is awesome. Got to check them out. Yeah, Saddam is a go-go, right? Their shows are fun. They spray fake blood and slime into the crowd all the show. So I'm not really a death metal guy.
Yeah, I'm not
more
into
like
that.
Thrash. What, are you into metal regardless or what?
Me? No way.
Just none. Okay.
Not at all.
Like, I'm old school. I really want to go see that Metallica. Was that 72 concert, whatever the thing is they're doing right now? But yeah, I know Guar. Yeah, they're kind of. I listen to them, but it's not like I'm more old school. Iron Maiden, man, like Iron Maiden, Metallica, Megadeth.
Base
good
Minnesota says,
ones.
I was wearing a Let's Go Brandon shirt a while back and some unhinged fat chick wished I would die of COVID. That happens all the time, though. People.
Yeah, we got that one all the time,
Yeah.
right? Like, I hope you die of COVID. So
Last year we got that all the time because we had the vax mandates up there.
Yeah.
What do you think was accomplished by this lefty in their head by dumping out the kernels for Trump?
Yeah, I don't
Not
know.
really so
I
popular.
think, and actually, there was the leftist had a friend who was apologizing and said, I'm so sorry, and I didn't go after her friend because I said, it's not your fault, and I appreciate that you're willing to apologize for your friend here, but these kind of things are not okay. We can't allow people to be, and this, these are just a few examples. It's been going on all the time. People knocking over our stuff, people pushing things, people taking our literature, throwing in the trash, people, trying to kick our booth, people trying to, do all kinds of things just to try to hinder us down. And these leftists, it's just crazy. I don't understand what their purpose is. And the big thing I think about is, these liberals are supposed to be there to enjoy the state fair, and what are they doing? They choose on purpose to lose their minds, to become unglued. And if they're there to have a good time, why don't they just walk on by? But no, if they're paying for a ticket, they're spending their hard-earned dollars just to come and yell at people who disagree with them. How crazy is that? These people have lost their minds.
Okay. You make it sound like it's all bad at the state fair booth. This is really
it's
bad.
definitely not.
No,
Like
no,
worse
no.
salesman than
No,
things
it's
are
more
entertaining.
positive than negative.
These
We're
are-
talking about the crazy liberals right now, but the
definitely
majority
more
of people
positive.
that are coming up to our booth, I'd even say that maybe 70% of them are MAGA people, of the people who vote in our straw poll back there. But we got all kinds of people, whether it's people who like Ron DeSantis or Vivek or, there's
Supposedly
even some...
Vivek's relative, that little kid that came up yesterday.
Yeah, that's
He was
right.
claiming
yeah.
that he was like his mom. He kind of looked like Vivek, and he was definitely like, he said his mom, I think it was like Vivek is something like his mom's second cousin or something like that. So he's like, what do you think of Vivek? And I was like, I mean, I like him. Like
You
I
said
personally,
Vivek or Vivek?
I think he said, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he kind of looked
Who
like
do you
him.
vote for? Trump?
No. He said he'd vote for Vivek.
K-Wall. I didn't know you were an Iron Maiden fan. That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I mean, it is generally positive. We're getting a lot of people.
Well,
who
you were
wanna
just
come up
giving
to
a
us and-
gloomy feeling to it.
Yeah,
I'm like, we're trying to sell people to go
exactly.
to the fair. Jeez.
Yeah, no, that happens once an hour or something. The majority of the time, it's good people coming up to us who say, thank you guys for what you're doing. This is the best booth at the fair. They say that, I'm so glad to see young people out here doing this. It's people who are saying, that the indictments are crazy. We're getting young people, black people, Hispanics, all kinds of people that would never be typical Republicans, that would never be typically America First or conservative or anything. But they are flipping in 2024, and they're doing it for Trump most often. There's a few people that like the other candidates, but as it appears at the state fair and the people who are coming up to us, I think Trump is big time in the lead in Minnesota, and that must piss David Hand and the rest of the MNGOP off big time. And, the MNGOP booth, they're the ones who aren't even really selling any Trump anything. They're selling one button that says Trump was the 45th president.
One guy came up to us that had volunteered at the booth, and in a way I was like, okay, that kind of does make sense. He was saying the reason that is the case technically this year, which is convenient, but he was saying, he's like, well, Trump is technically a candidate. The party hasn't endorsed any candidate right now, so we can't show favor. Like, we can't endorse
Well,
Right.
or
yeah,
show
but
favoritism, which makes sense, right?
kind of. I mean, we're nonpartisan too, so it's like if someone wants to be for Trump, I think they have a right to do that at our booth, okay? And I'm not going to stop it.
but not to
because-
sell stuff, I guess. Not to like.
Yeah, I get the selling part.
And
right?
that's
we're
what I
not,
think people
we're
are
not
giving them
selling
crap
anything.
for.
So,
But it's not like they have a Trump cutout or anything either. It's not like they got
they
anything
could have a
that's
Trump
like...
cutout. They got a Ronald Reagan Trump or cutout too, right?
But he's not a candidate right now. That's what they're saying.
Fair enough, yeah. But my thinking is you can't even wear like Trump stuff, right? And we're gonna
Yeah,
it's like I
I
think,
think
you should.
so.
I think you should read the
That's
people. a
true.
little
The
bit.
guy said he had to take his little Trump button off.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
my thing is like you come to our booth, we'll let you.
You can wear what you wanna wear.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
even Nikki Haley has votes at her booth. It's crazy, but
Yep.
people think she did a very good job. I think they're gonna learn things about Nikki Haley, but it is what it is. All right, I want last story, and then we got to send young Jesse back to the fair. COVID cases. So let's go to CNN. Speaking of fake news, let's go to CNN.
Yep.
But the reason I put CNN,
I am taller than you, Tucker. Really quick, Tucker says he thought I'm smaller than he thought, and that he was taller.
he said
Which
you're
is not
smaller?
true.
He said you're smaller.
Yeah, he said I thought that I would be taller. I am taller.
You're taller than Tucker.
I would say so.
How tall is Tucker?
I
don't know.
I won't say that. I don't know.
Did you? I don't think you guys.
5'7", 5'8".
I don't think you guys commented when I shared the fingerprint of Donald Trump, that meme. Did you guys see that?
I didn't even see it.
I think I understood what you were going for there. You were trying to say he had small
He's
fingers.
got small hands. You
Yeah.
know that old thing with small. So it's like, it's got like most of the box for his like index finger is like not full.
Gosh.
That's so good. Oh man. All right. So well, you're the same height as Tucker.
That's not true at all. I'm like 5'7".
Does he have a crush on you? Did you finally ask her?
I
out
only
since
met
Base
him briefly. I
Minnesota?
was leaving because I was done my shift.
Oh, scared her away, Tucker.
Tucker is 5'4". Tucker, I'm an inch taller than you.
Dawson's even taller.
Jeez. All right. According to CNN, COVID cases are rising just as new vaccines are almost ready. I mean, it's almost like you can't even make the story up. Sorry, go ahead.
Napkinator79 says, sorry, you have to take this bogus abuse.
There you go. That was
$20.
that was very nice of him. All right.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll buy him some. Oh, that was for
That's
you. I thought it was for
$20.
Tucker. That's fair. Yeah. We need. I'll buy
Thanks,
you some cheese
Napkinator.
curds or something at the fair for that. All right.
$20.
Shelly Tripp Jesse says, go get him.
Thank you.
COVID cases are rising just as new vaccines. So, like, literally, this is just literally the propaganda. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention says there is a summer uptick underway in COVID cases. Meanwhile, new vaccines are almost ready that should provide protection against the latest variants. Lalia Herrick speaks with Dr. Chris Purnell from the American College of Preventive Medicine. Now, I was driving Bridget to the fair yesterday. That was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Days are kind of meshing together. So yesterday. And you were talking about your other job, like how you work. Should I mention what your job is?
Oh, I don't care.
You work in
like different assisted livings and nursing homes.
assisted living. So in the patient's rooms is CNN. So like listen,
all day. Every
Bridget
day.
doesn't
It's
watch
so enjoyable.
CNN by choice. It's like me going to the airport and I'm stuck with CNN. I think they still put those on at the airport, right?
I think so.
So you were telling me it's all what?
Well, it literally alternates. Like, it's all how Trump stole the election. There's like a documentary airing, basically. I think it's called Trump Coup or something like that. But it's all about how Trump stole the election. And it's talking about all the Michigan electors, the story there. And then how COVID's coming back. So it's constant just like fear-mongering about COVID coming back and how this new variant supposedly is not protected by previous vaccines. And how schools are closing and cases are way up in hospitals. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Well, I think what's so fascinating is us in our red-pilled community, we don't really pay attention to this shit anymore, right? Back in the day, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I was still watching a little bit of Fox News, and then they got rid of Tucker. I'm like, screw you guys. In fact, let's be honest. I was watching Tucker on YouTube, right? But I don't watch this stuff. You guys don't watch it, right? We've given up on the mainstream corporate media. So now we got one of our insiders going there, and she's, because of where she works, she has to see it. And that's the shit they're telling people.
I think the craziest thing is just because this time around I was like, okay, they're probably not going to force the vaccine again, but I think they are going to, because they're talking about how it's not going to work for this new dangerous variant from Canada, and my fear at least is that like last time they pushed the vaccine, I think COVID hit early and they didn't, weren't expecting it, so there was no like unified database to track who's actually getting vaccinated, and you could get fake cards easily. Now this time I'm like, they've had time. My fear is like, do they have some sort of system where they can actually track who's getting vaccinated?
So you think they've been building
No,
this?
that's just what I'm wondering.
Well,
I'm like,
you know what? Actually, that's a really good point.
That would be-
Because remember all the funding that I don't think they have accounted for most of that funding, COVID money.
Yeah.
Perhaps that was getting built.
And Matt Walsh just posted the other day about how the CDC no longer has like a VAERS reporting website or something for the COVID vaccine. They're no longer taking like any sort of, you can't report about like adverse effects for the vaccine for COVID. It ended at like certain time. It was like, oh, sorry, this study or whatever it is ended. And I'm like, so now we just know they're safe and effective for sure. There's nobody that can report about them.
Lynn Girl says, I think people are so over it, nobody's going to comply this time. I wish she was right.
I wish you were
we
right,
are.
but I don't.
We are.
I don't know if
I'm dead serious. We see a lot of masks at the state fair. I don't know if a lot is the right term, but we see masks outdoors at the state fair.
Yeah.
People are going to fall for the same bullshit. Now, it's going to be less people, right? That's the good thing. That's why I'm very optimistic. But there's still going to be a lot of people that fall for this bullshit. I mean, to this day, people still think the masks work. Like the vast majority of people. Even though we revealed on, I think it was the last show, Dr. Osterholm and a bunch of other scientists wrote to the CDC saying they do not work. Stop lying about this. The central bank digital currency will track you. I agree with that, Becky.
Becky Hack, she back to I think Trump not being with the MGOP, like them not having any stuff there. She says that Minnesota establishment GOP will work behind the scenes to get the establishment pick endorsed. They will remain neutral during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, mega losers! What bullshit are you
Yeah,
guys
Donnie
shoving out
screwed
today?
Stormy.
Donnie screwed Stormy says. That's pretty funny. That's a good. I like that username. Hey, we're getting more haters these days. That's great.
Haters are entertaining now. Like,
was
Last
kinda
one.
nice.
This is what Donnie screwed Stormy is behind. Okay, so pull up the Zelensky won't hold elections. So Donnie screwed Stormy's like, we really need democracy. Everything's for democracy. And then here Zelensky says, hey, we won't hold Ukrainian elections without financial support from the U.S. and EU. There you go.
Well, I mean, Ukraine wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the U.S. right now. We're paying their pensions. We're paying all the government employees. We're paying their politicians. We're paying the bureaucracy of Ukraine. And, you don't see Putin saying anything like this. Putin's still planning on, I think that there is an election coming up in Russia in 2024 for their presidency. So you don't see Putin saying anything like this. And I thought he was supposed to be the one who is...
anti-democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, by the way, he is. I mean, let's
of
be
course
honest.
he is too. And,
He's
of
a
course
thug.
those elections are rigged and a scam as well, and he's an authoritarian big time. But, it's crazy that Zelensky thinks that he can say that he won't hold an election because, he was someone who campaigned as someone who was going to be pro-peace, anti-war, that he was a supporter of the Minsk Accord. And then as soon as he gets in there, he totally flips, falls in line with whatever the globalist system wants him for the purposes of proxy war.
Yeah, and I feel so bad dropping that bomb right at the end. We'll maybe discuss it in the next show. I just don't have time because we got to get this guy back to the fair. But I want to read this. K-Wall says, T-Wall and I saw a large group sitting at an outside table at the local Caribou Coffee. All had N95 masks on it, and it was a sunny day, 85 degrees. We couldn't stop laughing as we walked in, which, by the way, N95 masks actually do have some bit of protection to at least the person wearing them. It's not a good idea to wear them that long. But outdoors, like COVID doesn't even spread outdoors. By the way, this all new variant's going to be less lethal. That's what naturally happens with viruses. They become more transmissible but less lethal because they want to live, right? So utterly ridiculous. But I think they're going to do a scare campaign. I don't know, right? I'm still like 50-50, but you are seeing the talk. So we'll see if they walk that walk again. Thursday's show, Mortensen, former Representative Eric Mortensen, and Mark Bashosky, real health freedom patriot. We're going to also have I'm used to saying doctor. A lawyer, Aaron Siri, on our show. Guy has sued Moderna and Pfizer, has won some big cases. He's coming to Minnesota. You don't want to miss this episode. I got about 30 minutes to talk to this guy. Mark's got some great questions. Mark's actually doing it. Did Mark do his show already with him? I can't remember. Has that been released, Dawson?
Say that again?
Mark's show with Aaron Siri, has that been released yet?
I have no clue.
I can't remember either. Well, anyhow, really appreciate it. Mark Bashosky, real true patriot. So we'll be back here Thursday at 1 o'clock. If you want to see us at the fair, you know where to go. I should have said that.
No.
On Underwood Street in front of the Anchor House Coffee. It's like across from the Ballpark Cafe, kind of like in the middle of the state fairgrounds. That's where we'll be. Bridget will be out there many more times. I'll be out there tomorrow. Jesse, every day.
I think I'm only there on Monday, actually.
Only Monday? That's the only time?
Yeah.
Oh, the people want you there more.
Well,
Remember, you had a fan reach out and said,
I have a ton going on now. I'm not as free.
look at this. I can't even get her. Yeah, she's got a
Maybe
busy
Thursday.
life.
I might go Thursday.
Maybe
but
Thursday. All right, maybe
we'll see.
Thursday. Maybe you get Bridget on Thursday. We don't know. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you on Thursday. Take care.